Hey y'all, just wanted to give some instruction as you wrap up your wireframes and begin to submit them for your peer review. So here I'm back in XD, and what I've done is I've just taken pictures of my final wireframes that I've sketched out. So if you've got a phone or a camera, you take a picture of those and drag them into XD. If you've got a scanner, that's even better to avoid some of those shadows. Mine were kind of minimal enough that I didn't feel like it was just too crazy, but shadows are always tricky with phones. But if you have a scanner, that's even better. What I've done is I've just created an artboard around my wireframe and just kind of kept it all in theme based off of some of the things that I did in my mood board. And so you can see I've got the Handles logo up top. I've got just that subtle swoop in the background, and I've just got the title of the deliverable, the milestone, with what page we're looking at. And I just do that because this is helpful for clients. It's helpful in a presentation, or if you share these out, because it all feels like it's part of the same theme, and it just kind of gives your work that extra oomph, that extra add of consistency and clarity to make this all feel like it's part of the same project, the same family. So I usually deter people from just sending over a raw PDF of photos or of scans. And so I think this is a great example of maybe how you can take it a little bit further than just doing the bare minimum, if you will. So in my wireframes, I've got my homepage, my desktop mockup that you can see here. And you can see last week I left it off. It's a little bit more in depth. I've got kind of a candid photo, flavors section, some news down here at the bottom, and again, have my annotations following along the right-hand side. So it's super important as you submit these that you have your wireframes, which give us just enough information to understand how you might lay out the page, and accompany that with annotation. So those two things are necessary for these wireframes: a general understanding of how you want the page to lay out, and then the annotations to help support and give some idea as to what we might be looking at. So for instance, we have number 7 here. You really can't just by my drawing understand what this is, but I wanted to fill that gap, and just kind of thinking through it. Number 7, I think that could be a call out about locally sourced flavors and ingredients, because here we are on this page with a candid photo or an action shot with flavors. Might be good to call out the locally sourced flavors here. So you don't have to get super detailed in your wires, but that's where your annotations help to fill in the gap. So what I have here is my homepage desktop view. I've got my homepage mobile view, so a different layout. You can see the pixels here. This, it's tough when you're drawing to get pixel perfect, if you will, or to get the exact dimensions, but just roughly so the client knows, we're designing this for a 1366 pixel wide desktop view or your laptop screen. And that's the most common, one of the most common laptop sizes that was used last year, according to some statistics. And so that'll be our required kind of submission size for our prototypes, 1366 wide for our desktop prototypes. And then on mobile, it's 375 pixels wide by 812. I think that's a classic iPhone X, iPhone 10. And so just kind of keeping some standard dimensions as we go about submitting and thinking through our wireframes. But here you see a very different but similar layout between the homepage desktop and the homepage mobile. I've done the same here, and I've just repeated the menu page, my second page, the menu page desktop. You can see kind of the layout, how that changes a little bit. Still very similar to the homepage, but just enough to know that we're on an interior page versus the menu page for mobile. And so that lays out a little bit differently as well. Again, I have my annotation, so that's perfect. I've also went ahead and highlighted the calls to actions. If you want to do that, that's great. If not, it's not necessary, but something I like to do as a best practice, just to highlight where those call to actions might be. And then also, finally, my third and final page, I've got my fundraiser page desktop, and you can see how I might lay out this page, a photo of the fundraisers themselves to actually get an idea of what that looks like. And then Spirit Nights, knowing that's kind of the biggest fundraiser opportunity that Handles offers, and then having the pint card sale and the ice cream socials down below the fold too. So I've got one more left to do, so I'm just going to do this real quick. I've actually brought in all my images here, so I've got these, and I'm just going to line this up properly. I'll bring this in and just make sure my photo lines up, and I'll delete that. So we're just looking at here the mobile fundraiser. We'll go ahead and copy these over and bring them in, and I'll generate the PDF so y'all can see what that looks like. and I'll talk a little bit about the instructions for submitting. And so here you see all my wireframes. I've met the requirements. I've got 6 hand-drawn wireframes here, 6 hand-drawn wireframes that are annotated. They give me enough information of where I want to go with the layout. I've got some information to help support some of the design decisions that I'm making. And I would feel really good about sharing this with a client, sharing it for peer review, and getting feedback based off. I think there's enough here for clients to understand kind of where the layout direction is going to go, but then also enough information on in the annotations to give them a little bit more information around what to expect in some of those spots that I might not have fleshed out yet. I might not have all the photography I need. I might not have all the flavors of ice cream yet all mapped out. But those are things I can work towards and things that you'll work towards as you submit your final prototype. But at this stage, you're just looking for layout, get your ideas on paper, and then get some feedback as a result of it. So I've got these ready to submit. So I'm just going to actually select all my artboards. I'm going to go over here to my panel and select all those. And the same thing we did with mood boards. You can see these are all selected, which is great. And I'm just going to go up here to File, Export my selected artboards. And I'm gonna do it as a single PDF here. So I've got my project one. I'll go back into my mood board file structure. I've already actually went ahead and populated this, and I've saved it out as project one _ mood board _ final with my initials as a following. So I feel like it's ready to go, ready to submit, and that's as easy as that for the submission process of your wireframes. But let me go in and actually kind of walk through some of the highlights of the requirements for this kind of post for peer review. So here I am in Tuesdays. So tonight's second bit of information on Tuesday to be shared. And hopefully you've got a chance to watch this. A great introduction, I think, to overview of what to expect in this milestone in this module this week. I think there's a Career Foundry does a great job of giving an overview of how to get started with wireframes, some of the critical things you could be thinking about. We had some information about prototypes versus wireframes, some articles to look at, and then some just examples of wireframes themselves that are really great. So I even shared the demo there of how I get started with my wireframe. So this video is going to live right here as number 7, and let me just go over the instructions with you real quick. So you've already got your mood boards, which is fantastic. So now you're just looking to get how this might lay out when you get into your wireframes on your website. So the things to keep in mind is the file type you need to submit is a PDF. The file should include the compiled six hand-drawn wireframes and annotations. You've already selected your 3 pages you want to focus on, and then you need to do a desktop version and a mobile version for each of those. Again, hand-drawn, desktop version of page 1, mobile version of page 1, desktop version of page 2, and so on and so forth. Your file name should be project1 _ wireframes _ your initials. So in my case, it's project1 _ wireframes _ RSF. And some things to keep in mind. Just want to reiterate, make sure you pay attention to the due date. So this project is due at 11:59 p.m. on Thursday night, so January 28th. I've let a couple of y'all slide a little bit in the late discussion post, depending on when they came in and how much effort you put in after the fact of the due dates. But at this point, I feel like you should be understood that there's no late submissions, and so. And we've said that in the syllabus as well in some of the introductory videos. So make sure you have your PDF of your wireframes in no later than 11:59 p.m. on Thursday night. If it comes in late, it's not going to be accepted. Your peers still need to review it, so definitely submit it. But I'll have to take that in mind as I look at the grading too. So just keep that in mind. Make sure you hit those due dates. Set reminders, calendar reminders if you need to. Leverage the time that we have that you have dedicated for the classwork. From 5 to 7 or so in the evenings on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and to get the work done. But just make sure you hit those deadlines, and that you're not getting a 0 on the projects because you've submitted it late and couldn't hit the deadline. So some things to keep in mind, like we've already talked about, you should include 6 hand-drawn annotated wireframes for your 3 pages, 3 showing desktop, 3 showing mobile. Scan or take those pictures on your phone of those wireframes and compile them into one properly named PDF. Share your first draft PDF. So this is rough draft. You're going to be able to go back and make some edits if you need to based off peer feedback. Share that to your groups, same groups as we had for mood boards, with 200 to 300 words explaining your thinking behind that redesign, behind your wireframes. We'll use the same groups we have. And so that will be post number 1, Thursday night at 11:59 p.m., no later than that. Post number 2, you'll come back in the next couple of days over the weekend and give feedback to your peers. So you need to respond then to each of your peers within your group. So 200 to 300 word evaluation on what they should be working on, what maybe is missing in their wireframe, what can they do better, what's working great. And you guys have really done a great job giving feedback and participating in this discussion post. So keep that up for sure. And make sure you give each of your peers some feedback of your perspective as you download their wireframes and look at them. And you might also gain some inspiration on some things you might be able to do on yours as well. I'm also going to get in there and give video feedback, but just wanted to quickly go over kind of what I've done to generate my wireframes and go through some of the descriptions and the requirements for this post. So make sure you get your initial wireframes in no later than 11:59 p.m. on Thursday. No late work will be accepted if you push that in, but your peers still need to review it. So get that in anyways, but we'll consider that whenever we give points, and we've outlined that in the syllabus. And then also your second round of feedback being due on Sunday evening at 11:59 p.m. To give feedback to your peers. So hope this has been helpful. Excited to see what you guys do in your wireframes, and I'll talk to you all in some more videos. Have a good one.